Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at one of the most interesting regional Pokemon that you can currently get, or at least you were able to get it only recently, in Hawlucha. Hawlucha was part, of course, of the Kalos Tour, one of the most interesting Pokemon that was actually featured there, as it got buffed this season with the fast move of a low kick. I think it's low kick, right? And this Pokemon is very interesting, mainly because of two things. It has a very interesting typing, fighting and flying. Not as much unique anymore. It was quite unique when this Pokemon first came out. I think it was the only fighting and flying type Pokemon. Nowadays, afterwards, we already got releases of the Galarian Zapdos as well as the Flamigo. So yeah, that is kind of also other flying and fighting type Pokemon that might do a little bit better even than this Pokemon right now, but we're gonna talk about this a little bit later. But generally speaking, of course, we have the one big benefit of this Pokemon, which is the signature move, which got added from the beginning, which is really great, of Flying Press. Flying Press is the strongest, or like one of the strongest moves currently in the game. It is really, really broken. It's 40 energy, which you get now super fast thanks to the recent update of the fast move of low kick, and does 90 damage for 40 energy. Like, we talk about like Awkward Jet, which is 70 for 40 energy as a strong move. Having 20 extra damage is quite significant and is quite strong and quite broken. Especially in a meta like this, it actually is really, really nice. And we're gonna talk about why this is the case as well. But also the, issues with this Pokemon. Anyway, first battle actually looks really good for us. As long as you're gonna be able to reach another drill run against the opponent's Quagsire, they're going to go for another charge move. I have a shield here. I expect them to swap out, so I swap out here directly, catch the move from the opponent, which is perfect. The Weezing is going to throw the energy here onto the wrong Pokemon, which is exactly what I wanted. I can get a bit of energy up, and here it looks like I need 2 more rollers to get to the charge move. Look at this, please. I try to press onto the drill run. You see me there. You saw a tiny bit of lag. I over-tapped because of the frame drop. That was the perfect time for it, and I lose because of it. That should have been a win. This was a win. I played it so nicely, I caught the move, did everything right, and then you lose because of a frame drop. Anyhow, we're going to have here the Hawlucha, and we see here already why this Pokemon is so fantastic, especially in the meta right now, because there's Pokemon like Lickilicky. And as I said before already, Flying Press is quite a broken move in terms of what it can do. And also we're going to get there quite a bit faster now. So like we can use a shield here, and we're most likely going to even be able to reach another one afterwards as well. Like not only this one, but another one after. And we should be able to guarantee kind of align ourselves. But Flying Press from this range is already enough to knock out this Lickilicky for sure, but at this point they're going to shield. Okay, goodbye there then. Flying Press is coming in now, and now we have switch advantage, shield advantage, and the opponent is honestly kind of screwed. As they're gonna have the Quillfish coming in, I'm actually gonna go into my Dunsparce because we have Drayon faster. They reveal that they have Gorgast in the back, and they're gonna forfeit here because they know this game is over. This is a thing, very often Quillfish doesn't have anything to hit the Lantern with. Here, for a second, I thought I went into the wrong cup. Like we're battling an Urshifu right now. Urshifu, by the way, very good right now in the Open Master League. Funnily enough, I maybe want to try this Pokemon out as well. Maybe I should do that. I just gonna do stuff that I think is funny. Urshifu right now is actually a lot of fun in the Master League because there is so many Lunalas, and you're doing, of course, double super effective damage with the Sucker Punch there, which is hilarious. But here, they're actually gonna win the lead matchup. Good job there. So we're gonna swap out into our Hawlucha, and they go into the Lickilicky. We have a Flying Press. This is not going to be enough at this point yet because they are just a little bit. Yeah, but like, look at the damage. Look at the damage against Lickilicky, one of the bulkiest Pokemon in the meta. It just nearly one-shotted to the point that we can catch that Shadow Ball here, farm them down, and we're in such a good position. Yeah, they're going to go into the Urshifu now. I'm fully aware that's not ideal, but we have Drill Run, which either knocks them out or gets the final shield. We get the final shield. I don't know what they have in the back yet, so it might be worth it for me to shield this move up as well. Or I go straight for Hawlucha. Okay, I'm gonna shield this move up. I think this is the right play. I can knock them out now. And now I can see on what they have in the back and see on what I want to run here. This is gonna knock them. In the back, it's going to be Quagsire Omen. Like, Flying Press is gonna do so much damage. Like, look at this, please. Look at Hawlucha. Look at what this thing can do. Like, look at the damage output here. That's just a neutral hit, and we are just doing so much with this Pokemon. Hawlucha is such a fun Pokemon as well. Very nice. I like the Mega as well for this Pokemon. I think it makes it just look cooler and like a little bit bigger. And it's just a very nice Mega in my opinion. Alrighty. Lickitung going to be next. Lickitung, by the way, fun fact, is the number one Pokemon used in the last regional. So we are now in a meta where Lickitung apparently in the open grade, or like in the Show 6 Week 3 format is the strongest Pokemon, but it's not really that strong if you have a Lickilicky in the back that we can just hard wall with a Hawlucha. Like, honestly, it's constant. This happened the entire time for me, that I'm just able to go into my Hawlucha against the Lickilicky, and I'm just able to destroy them. Like, I'm literally just able to look at this, goodbye there, nothing they can do, and oh, wow, Flying Press coming through as well against the Wigglytuff. This is where Hawlucha is just so much stronger now. And I really enjoyed Hawlucha, but what I also have to say is that I do feel like there is mostly a stronger Pokemon than Hawlucha with the same thing, which is mainly Flamigo, which I mostly have to take a look at as well again. Flamigo got buffed quite significantly this season with a wing attack on it. But why I do think that Flamigo is actually the better version of Hawlucha, which is generally actually very good because Hawlucha is the original Pokemon that you can only get in Mexico. You kind of going to have a bit of a benefit of having Flamigo, which is worldwide. Yeah, just being stronger. But Flamigo itself has a wing attack as a fast move, which is, I think, the exact same as low kick. I do think they do the exact same thing. Like, they do 8 energy generation for 2 turns and 5 damage, I think. It's both the exact same stats, so, like, no difference there. You have Upper Hand, which is a worse version of the move that we have here of the Flying Press. That's basically all fighting type moves are like a worse version of Flying Press. But it's still very solid. But you have Brave Bird as a coverage move instead of Aerial Ace. And this is the issue that we had here today with the Hawlucha, is that Aerial Ace is not a good coverage move, and you don't have a better alternative option. The other option that you have is X-Scissor, and that's just not gonna cut it. If and when, or if we ever get that, if Hawlucha gets a special other charge move, we would be in such a different place here. I think Hawlucha would be absolutely top meta. The thing that really holds it down is if the opponent resists fighting type damage, you are screwed with this Pokemon. And like, there are quite a few Pokemon that can resist, of course, fighting type damage. For example, here Weezing, which is going to double resist it, which is even better. But yeah, just this generally the issue here for this Pokemon is you don't actually have really coverage. Aerial Ace is not a good move at all. It barely does any damage. Especially, like, there's so much little damage, and it's like more energy than Flying Press. It's just such a bad move. Here, this is basically a perfect example. I didn't even want to plan it like this. This is a perfect example of the issue of Hawlucha. Like, literally, look at this. Sideshow coming through. We're going to try to go for the Aerial Aces here against the opponent. Let's go for one. Let's see how much it does. Like, what is this? Like, we have a very attack-weighted Pokemon. This is pitiful damage against, yeah, it is a solid bulky Pokemon. Don't get me wrong, Togetic here is quite bulky, but like, still seriously, like, this is not really acceptable damage. Like, I have to say, like, this is not enough. And yeah, like, this is literally what is holding back this Pokemon. We need another coverage move. I am assuming that this Pokemon learned some cool flying type moves in the main series game, so it could learn in Pokemon Go as well. But currently, at least, we just don't have that. And that is just the reason why you don't see this Pokemon at all, really. It's just the coverage is really bad for this thing. And here, we see again Hawlucha coming in against the opponent's Quagsire here. Alcatail, yeah, gonna knock them out. Next up, let's take a look here at the Wheeland. This is, by the way, someone that I met in person as well before. This is someone that I battle practically nearly every day currently, which is kind of hilarious, so shout out to you. And they try to catch the move here, and they have a Lickilicky. Hi, I have Hawlucha, and Hawlucha is not really caring too much about a Lickilicky. It's so funny. Like, Hawlucha is such a fun Pokemon to run, though. Like, I did enjoy it quite a bit. Also, I traded this Hawlucha, specific Hawlucha, at EUIC from someone who is actually from Mexico, so shout out to you there as well. Yeah, that was kind of a nice experience as well to have like Pokemon that I actually got like from in-person trades that otherwise I would have not been able to get. Hawlucha, very difficult Pokemon, of course, to get in Europe, other than the recent event there, as it doesn't spawn here at all. Well, this is the thing as well, at least Europe has one Pokemon that is also meta relevant right now in a lot of cups that's exclusive to us, which is Klefki. Of course, it was also available recently, and I think it was even available at like one of the Go Fest before globally. But Klefki is a very good Pokemon in a lot of the limited metas, which is kind of cool. So yeah, just generally speaking, at least Europe has some good regionals. What other good regionals are there? We have like Tropius. I think that was meta defining for a long time, and then just like Jumpluff was just stronger. And I do think this is kind of something that they try to achieve a lot of times here right now as well, is to make regionals not meta relevant. And if so, they try to get Pokemon that are doing basically the same, that are not original, to be stronger. I feel like we saw similar things with Klefki and Mawile. Mawile received a ton of buffs, which maybe was also the idea to try to make it stronger than the Klefki. But like currently Klefki is still a bit stronger in a lot of the limited metas. Because like it's quite interesting to see that both Steel and Fairy type Pokemon are having access to Astonish. And then you got like Vice Grip recently buffed on the Mawile, which is like a cheap 40 energy move, which you have Foul Play on the other Pokemon. There are a lot of parallels between those two Pokemon, which is kind of interesting. But still, Mawile is definitely the worst version of it. And here we are going to see the opponent bringing in the Togekiss. I knew that they would try to catch, but I didn't expect that they would try to catch on a Flying type Pokemon if I have Rock type damage non-stop. So I'm just going to try to get myself aligned here, basically. I'm just going to try to knock them out here with my Dunsparce, which I'm not going to be able to do yet, but I can just use a shield, farm them all the way down, have alignment, and alignment is key. Like, this is what we saw already. Alignment is absolutely key here. As we will see here now, the opponent going into the Quagsire, I sure went straight for the charge move. That was such a silly mistake by me, because now I would have been able to knock them out and get the final shield, both of which would be absolutely amazing. But now we're forced to go into our Hawlucha, and they're not in farm down range yet, as well as they can go for a Stone Edge, and they're just going to get us super low. In comes Gyarados. If I had Spark, this would be an instant win, but we don't have Spark, so like that is going to be a bit annoying. As you can see here, we are going to be able to go ahead and go for the charge move. The Surf is coming through, and this is going to be very interesting, as now we're going to see them knocking us out, but we still have the Air Relays, which should hopefully knock them out. I could even go for the Flying Press, because again, Flying Press is actually very strong. But yeah, I go for the Air Relays just to hopefully knock them out here. If I went for Flying Press and would knock them out as well with it, I maybe would have been able to reach this move, because I was missing out on one fast move there. Unfortunate, close battle at the end of the day, but yeah, this is kind of the issue. If you resist fighting, it's kind of a bit awkward. Speaking of kind of a bit awkward, I would like to have this Pokemon here, the Umbreon, against my Hawlucha and not against my Elite here. So how do I play this now? I decide to just get energy here and then swap out into my Dunsparce. So why? Because I have very neutral Pokemon here with Dunsparce anyway. I have energy now on my lead, which I can utilize later on, which is going to be very handy. I got a little bit of fast move damage in as well, and I kind of spread a little bit the damage of the opponent, which means none of my Pokemon is actually low. And Dunsparce actually is in a position now where we would win the zero shield scenario here, which I think is amazing, because the Last Resort is not doing enough damage, and I do think that Last Resort might not even be the right play here. Like, I would have assumed that Foul Play or the Dark Pulse just does more damage, because Last Resort is actually not the strongest move. I feel like Last Resort is like a move that I would like to see buffed, because it's just not that great on the evolutions. But we win the zero shield scenario, which is fantastic here. The Drogon comes in, and we can actually knock them out, which is kind of bad as well, because now I don't have the Pokemon that I wanted to farm down with my Hawlucha. But Hawlucha is still going to be good against Fortress, because they're not running a Volt Switch, they're running the Bug Bite, so they do resist the damage against us. And the Flying Press is doing some neutral damage against them, which is doing so much damage here just generally. We can shield up the move, they're going to go very likely for the Rock Tomb, I assume. I kind of want to keep my Pokemon healthy. In comes the Drapion, and I see Impida here, which is a bit silly. I should have not done that. But you know what? I still have energy on my lead, and I will utilize now, because I use a shield, which is actually really good that they use the shield here. I'm going to be able to go for 4 and then swap. 4 and swap, try to catch the Aqua Tail. Doesn't work out. Doesn't matter though, because I have the Thunderbolt. And me going for the Thunderbolt, doing a ton of damage, kind of wins me the battle straight away, because they are forced to let the move go, and we can farm them down, and this is going to be it. The opponent forfeits, and we can move on to the next opponent. Fantastic lead, but that doesn't really mean a lot. We have to see if we're going to be able to align ourselves here. We have the Quagsire against us, and we saw already that this is not going to be enough to knock them out, but they're actually going to outspeed us as well with a charge move, so like, it's going to be a bit awkward. I should be able to align myself guaranteed here. If I just shield once, I should be able to farm them down now. But then again, this is the issue with Hawlucha. You have nothing to punish the opponent. Like, in comes the Togekiss, they get a ton of energy, in comes the Air Relays, and that does like maybe 50% at this point. Like, this is just no damage really at all, not even 50%. And this is the reason why I do think that Flamigo is very like just a strong Pokemon, because Flamigo as well, if you want to have fighting type fast move coverage, you're going to have double kick, which is also generating the same amount of energy. It's just a little bit more clunky. And now I'm in a position where we have a Pangoro against me, and unless I'm going to hit the Surf, which I am not going to be able to do, I will lose this battle, because I have a Dunsparce in the back, and trust me, Dunsparce is not the greatest Pokemon against Pangoro. And so it's going to be it for this video. So, is Hawlucha now broken? Absolutely not. But it's still a very fun Pokemon. It's a very strong Pokemon. If you set it up right, it's actually amazing in this meta because like no Pokemon can do basically what it can do here against the Licky Say stops. But yeah, I do think Flamigo is better. That's gonna be it. See you then. Bye bye.